Welcome to another edition of the Nightly Nuge. We call it the Friday Free-for-All, Dr. Oz, and you have Mr. Free-for-All next to you.
Why is it called that?
Because the American dream has a soundtrack, and it sounds like this. Anyhow, it's great to have Dr. Oz here. I have the soundtrack for freedom, and I got to tell you, Pennsylvania, there is a battle cry for freedom, and it's God, family, country, Constitution, Bill of Rights, 10 Commandments, Golden Rule, individualism, that man in the arena, entrepreneurial spirit, law and order. And what I've learned with communicating with Dr. Oz, and you've seen it right here on the Nightly Nuge, Keith, he really represents the core values of our families and the families that we know and that we cherish here in America. So once again, Dr. Oz, thank you for coming out, because people want to hear what a politician, even though you're not a politician, what a candidate represents. And I believe that you represent the heart and soul of the campfires across America. So thank you for that.
Well, a lot of what brought humanity together was music. And what we try to do throughout our lives is to try to build connections. And in America, we've ripped out the middle layers of society. We got individuals atomized running away because they don't have a belief in God. They've lost their faith in our society, and their families aren't holding them together. So let's get back to some of the basics. By building up those middle layers between a federal government, which thinks it knows everything and can't do a one-size-fits-all approach, and the average individual, we got to pull us together. Music does that, which is why I was so excited. Obviously, like everybody else, I learned about, I kept getting scratched by cats.
Those things happen. There was actually a remedy for that, right? I didn't know it was an actual disease, but it was an actual disease.
It's a diagnosed disease. I know what bacteria causes it.
And I've heard from everybody that's ever had cat scratch fever. I've heard from them.
So the thing about music, and the reason it's so important to us, and the reason it unites us, and it bridges political gaps. Listen, I don't get up in the morning and dislike Democrats. I feel sad sometimes that some far-left Democrats have lost their way, but in Pennsylvania, we have more NRA members who are Democrats than Republicans.
Sure, same in Michigan, same all across the country, I think.
This is not about ideology. In this case, this is about what brings us together, and music like yours does it. And here's the pretty cool thing. If you see something, the way your brain processes it, in the very back, it has the visual cortex, you sort of see it, and then your brain processes it, and you interpret what you're saying, and you read the words, and you see the picture, right? A lot of processing. Music's not like that. Music goes from the ears into the side of our brains and then right to the limbic system, the reptilian foundation of our being.
Sure.
Which is why you get goosebumps, which is why without any processing, you just feel.
I've always used the term primal, organic, raw, instinctual. That's where my music comes from, especially as a hunting, fishing, trapping outdoor guy who spends more time in the great outdoors than I do indoors. That instinctual, primal scream that is the driving force of all of our individualism, it has a sound. And those of us that put our heart and soul into creating that sound, no matter what the instrument might be, especially mine, if I may, it brings out an absolutely pure, primal, instinctual, raw spirit. The good, the bad, and the ugly. You can talk and sing and write lyrics about all of the above. But yes, no matter where I've been for the last 70 years unleashing my music, color, creed, religion, gender confusion, ideology, political party, means nothing. It's as pure of a human communication force that exists in this world.
And I think to pull us together, to work through issues so we can talk to each other and hurt feelings sometimes.
Sure.
But know that, as a doctor, I give people bad news sometimes, right? But that's not the point. The point is, do I respect you and you respect me when we're done? Because if you respect me, you might love me one day.
Sure.
But if you don't respect me, you definitely won't in the future. And I think we have opportunities. Music and leaders like you make that happen. And what I love about music is it reflects the culture. You see it modulating, trying to pick up the general flows of the energy almost of the communities. And American culture is defined by our music. I would argue our greatest exports of all, medicine, music.
I think so.
Right? That's what's...
Spirit and attitude, yes.
That's how we go out to the world and say, hey, we got us. We figured this out. We can be your North Star. And if we act like that and remind ourselves that what we're doing is sacred and special, then everything we can share with the world, including our music, makes the place a better globe.
Well, you will represent Pennsylvania because I met a great Pennsylvania man named Fred Bear. many years ago. And if you're not familiar with Fred Bear, you can do a little research. I spent my lifetime, he was an archer and a visionary, a conservation leader, a fine gentleman. And when he died in 1988, my love and pain of saying goodbye to the man came out in a song. So you do a little research and discover the song Fred Bear, and it will move you because it represents all those emotions and all those sensations that is the human experience in one song, celebrating my time with Fred Bear. And that song has been the #1 requested song for 32 years in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin.
Fred Bear, B-A-E-R.
The song Fred Bear.
And you know what, Doctor, it's actually become the hunter's anthem. And you're going to join us tomorrow for our weekend edition where we do a lot of talking about the outdoors and hunting. People may not know that you're a hunter. I just will give you something to think about before we start tomorrow. I founded an organization called Hunter Nation. You can check it out at hunternation.org. Ted and I actually worked on this from the very start. Ted's the national spokesperson for that. Hunter Nation's goal is to get hunters and sportsmen out to vote. President Trump told me when he was just a candidate in 2016 that by and large across the country, hunters do not vote. And that's why we founded Hunter Nation. And I think tomorrow, if you're a hunter, especially a hunter in Pennsylvania, you're going to want to join us tomorrow. And this is going to be the reason why we're trying to get hunters out to vote, especially in Pennsylvania, because there are some good candidates out there that support God, family, country, our hunting lifestyle and heritage. And if you haven't checked out Hunter Nation, go to hunternation.org. And if you come back tomorrow, we'll have a weekend edition of the Nightly News.